Finally, I have some juicy news for you, not just because it's a new fusion, it's a new possible, pretty good, interesting free champion if you manage to get him, but also it's been a champion that a lot of people have been waiting for. So let's quickly have a look at it. Hi, Senda here and welcome to another raid video. Like I said, like you probably seen on the thumbnail, we know as the next fusion is gonna start first of all next Monday 28th of July, and it's gonna be a fragment fusion, which means you're gonna be able to collect up to, well, probably more than up to 100 shards, but you're going to be able to collect 100 of these like shards or fragments of the champion and fuse the champion. Or if you're not interested in the champions, you can gather these fragments and use them to fuse or to try to get some other fragments for the High Mother mod, which is the champion that's already on the system of, you know, changing shards. So this is going to be an interesting fusion. Like I said, is gonna be a champion that we've been speculating that it was supposed to come at some point, and in order to show you why and so on, it's better if I give you a bit of context in case you're a bit lost and you don't really know what I'm talking about. And it's the following. So last year, I don't think it was 2 years ago, I'm pretty sure it was last year, there was a fusion, which was this guy, the Packmaster Shiek. This guy, his strategy, the way he worked, is that he, as the name indicates, is a Packmaster, so he combines very good with a lot of different champions denominated as hounds. In this case, Terror Beast, Gore Mask, Hound Spawn, Hellfang, Fellhound, and Stitch Beast. All these champions were pretty bad. I mean, we have here Terror Beast, pretty useless champion. We have Gore Mask here, also a pretty useless champion. I think we had a couple more in the Undead, maybe? We had here the Stitch Beast, another, I mean, it doesn't say anywhere that it's a hound, but we can see, I mean, in terms of skin, we can see it's like four-legged kind of dog type of champion. The thing with Shiek is that none of these champions, I mean, not Terror Beast, Gore Mask, blah blah blah, none of this was good. And at some point, Plarium promised us that there will be more hounds joining the pack. We've been waiting since then. As you can see, I didn't get the champion, I wasn't too interested, I was like, I don't really need this guy, none of the champions he combines with are any good, I'm gonna easy skip. But he wasn't too bad, he's able to bring certain stuff to the Hydra, like an AoE, like a single target decreased defense, team ally attack but only the hounds. Here he heals, places shield, stun, reflect damage, here block buff, so I mean he has certain kit. The passive is very interesting, he's able to apply a hex, but it was, and it's been until now, 100% useless in Hydra because none of these things were useful for Hydra, none of these hounds was useful for Hydra. It worked at some point where the Hydra was targeting the ally with taunt, which means we could put a taunt and the head that was supposed to eat another of our allies would eat instead the champion that had the taunt. That they nerfed it, that didn't work, and since then people came and then put Shiek back in the vault, and it didn't leave the vault since then. Until probably now, because let me introduce you to Krokhad the Throat Ripper, which is gonna be the fusion for August because it's coming at the end of July. And we're gonna have finally a legendary hound that is gonna combine with Shiek. So if you had Shiek, getting this guy is extra points. It's exactly the same as, you know, like Venus and Cupidus, or like Rotus and Siphi, or Minaya and Coronar. It's champions that they work very good together. And it's gonna be very, very similar because he's gonna be getting a lot of benefits from playing with Shiek, and is not gonna be as efficient if we are not running him with Shiek. So if you have Shiek, it's an interesting option. If you don't have Shiek, I personally don't have it, and I think I'm gonna skip it. I don't need it, but he is good with Shiek. Without Shiek, it's just another champion damage dealer for Hydra. But don't take my words as a law. Let's have a quick look at the kit. And like I said, this is an interesting kit, but it's gonna work much better with Shiek. On the A1, attacks all the enemies. This attack deals single target damage to each target individually rather than AoE damage. Normally this translates as deals more damage because we know that the multiplier for single target hits is higher than AoE hits, so this is extra point. AoE attack, single target, which means good multiplier, and on top of that we'll ignore reflect damage, Pain Link, and Ally Protection. 3 buffs that the Hydra places themselves. However, what I see a bit of a weird area is like, okay, if we are running Shiek with him, this attack also deals double damage when counter-attacking if Packmaster Shiek is on the team. The thing is, okay, it's great that he's gonna ignore these 3 things, but most of the times Shiek is gonna be on the team, I mean, especially if we run them together, and Shiek himself is able to apply block buffs. So if he places block buffs, none of the Hydra heads is gonna apply any of these buffs, which means that A1 kind of only deals damage. However, on the passive, Shiek is able to apply a Hex, and every time an enemy with a Hex attacks us, all the hounds that we have are gonna counter-attack to that enemy. In this case, this hound, what's the name? Krokhad the Throat Ripper, he is gonna counter-attack, and when he counter-attacks, he is gonna be dealing double damage. So it's gonna be a powerful hit, double damage on A1, just counter-attacking just because. So an A1 that it's interesting. On A2, another AoE hit, places an extra hit. Again, when it says extra hit normally is quite a lot of damage. We can see that with Tranda's A3, for example, that we know it deals extra hits. We can see that with Fushan's A1, again it says place an extra hit and normally it tends to escalate pretty hard. Has a places an extra hit on enemies under 2 or more debuffs, and then 75% chance of placing Leech, which is useful in Hydra, and Weaken for 2 turns, and these debuffs cannot be resisted if Packmaster Shiek is on the team. So if we are running him with Shiek, we don't need any accuracy. Other than that, he's a pretty solid double hitter with some pretty useful debuffs for Hydra as well. On the A3, attacks one enemy, will ignore 50% of the target's defense, as well as Life Barrier and Poison Cloud. Again, 2 buffs, very specific for Hydra. I don't see this guy being run on his own anywhere else that is not Hydra. However, if we're running him with Shiek, then we might be able to run it, I don't know, against waves, can be very useful. The A1 seems pretty juicy, the A2 is also useful for clearing waves, so he's not going to be a champion that is only limited to Hydra, but is definitely intended to go in Hydra with Shiek. And then also says will ignore 50% of the target defense, life barrier, poison cloud, and effects that redirect attacks, damage, or debuffs to another target. This is 100% intended against the Head of Mischief, because the Head of Mischief, when we target it, unless it has Hex, it will redirect the attack to another head. So in this case, if Shiek is on the team, we're gonna be able to target the Head of Mischief, even if it doesn't have Hex, and attack it. And in this case, we're gonna see certain interaction with the passive. The passive that says increases this champion attack by 5% when killing an enemy or decapitating a Hydra head, up to 25%, and if the Packmaster Shiek is on the team, this champion's attack increase is gonna be at 10%, up to a 50%. So as the round pass, we're going to be hitting harder and harder and harder. Also, instantly activates the Dominant Predator skill against the Hydra head when an ally is consumed by that head if Packmaster Shiek is on the team. This means if a head eats one of our champions, automatically we're going to trigger the A3. And the A3 is going to ignore 50% of the target's defense, it's going to ignore life barrier, it's going to ignore poison cloud, and even if it's the Head of Mischief, we're going to go for that head to try to free up the champion that's just been eaten. So as you can see, all the kit is screaming Hydra, Hydra, Hydra on A1, on A2, on A3 in passive, and being run with the Packmaster Shiek all together. As Aura increases all ally attacks in all battles by 30%. So it's not a bad champion, it's 100% the damage dealer for Hydra, and with Shiek it's gonna be pretty interesting. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's gonna hit hard, I don't know yet. I'm guessing when we get the test server I'm also gonna need to ask for Shiek because I don't have a copy, and it's interesting to see them both together. I don't know if this is only the first of the hounds, if there's gonna be more hounds, if the future of Raid is running Shiek and 5 OP mythical and legendary hounds that they just do all sort of crazy things, I have no idea, but this is the first legendary hound that we have that combines pretty well with Shiek. Like I said, in A1 it's interesting, A2 is not bad, A3 seems to hit hard, passive that's designed to free up champions and to be run with Sheik. Like I said, this fusion will start next Monday, 28th of July. It's going to be a fragment champion. You can go for the fusion, you could save the shards and then use them, not the shards, the fragments, and use them to get the high mother mod. Or if you have Sheik, I think it's a pretty interesting combination, because like I said, here we're gonna get, when this champion is attacked, to all allies hounds will counterattack, so this is pretty interesting. We place free hex, we place block buffs, we place decreased defense, we heal. The taunt is a bit useless, the shield, it's okay, it doesn't hurt. The reflect damage is not bad. Also, the shield cannot be removed, stolen, or transferred if at least we have one of these hounds. So there is certainly some synergies here that can be useful. If you have Packmaster Sheik, I would try to get the fusion. I mean, he's a good champion. Both of them cover quite a lot of roles for Hydra. We get leads, block buffs, decreased defense, weaken. We get counterattacks, which means a lot of damage. We have the possibility of freeing up champions that just got eaten. So there is certain synergies that might work really, really well. But if you don't have Sheik, the Hound is good, but not 100% necessary. At least that's my take. I don't think I will be going for him just because I don't have Sheik. Unless I pull Sheik these days, which is not gonna happen. I'm probably just gonna keep hoarding fragments. I mean, I'm pretty low in ancients, but I'm gonna just keep hoarding on sacred shards until there is something that I am really gonna need, or a fusion that is gonna be able to change my account somehow or something like that. Until then, for now, I'm gonna skip it. But like I said, it's not a bad champion. If you have a Sheik, it's probably a very interesting option. But I also understand that it's July, beginning of August, people are, you know, it's middle of the summer, people are on holidays, and not everyone might want to just do fusion after fusion after fusion. But anyways, here's the fusion, here's the champion. Let me know what you think down there in the comments. As always, I'll leave a video recommended over there. Thanks a lot for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.